Ladies and gentlemen, after 2 painful months, the Acolyte has finally concluded. All of the damage that could possibly do to Star Wars canon and lore can now subside, and while the damage report is quite comprehensive, and what it has left in its wake will be quite a hardy task for several people to clean up, I would just, at this point in time, in the aftermath, share a few of my more cherished clips from this 8th episode, because, brother, I've been very upfront and honest about not being the biggest Star Wars fan. I know more than the average Joe, I would suppose, by following this stuff for quite a long time, even before I was covering it on the channel, and even I'm, well, a little bit infuriated by this stuff, because it's $180 million just completely and totally wasted on sets that look not too dissimilar to that you could piece together with Goodwill parts, and choreography that looks like it could come straight out of a ayahuasca dream. Here's the first one, okay? And we got a rather inconsequential, just in case, I guess, if you're worried about spoilers or anything like that, we'll just have a rather low stakes scene where we have, yes, a Jedi Master Soul and goofy-ass Smilo Ren having their penultimate battle, right? Like, that's what we're dealing with this time around. I won't need to share any sound this time around, obviously, because it's, well, I think the visuals speak louder than any words possibly could. I mean, where was he aiming with that one? Okay, we'll just run it back here real quick, because I'm just wondering, once again, that's something that we broke down a few different times, but he comes down, at least he's kind of aiming and gets out of the way, but he doesn't adjust his swing. In fact, he starts to swing away from Soul, so very good on that one. And then he comes back, and then what, they're just gonna stand there. But as you're gonna see a little bit later in this fight, he has every ability and every chance to just simply, well, let the visual speak for itself again. It's like, what was he aiming for? And why are you kicking when somebody has a laser sword? It makes no sense at all whatsoever. But if he also had the ability to, well, I don't know, flourish like a motherfucker, I guess. It's like, is that what we're going to be doing? But him, oh, just belabored throwing. But if you have the ability to pull back your lightsaber, and oh my god, this is going to be so cool, because he's going to punch him, I guess. Like, oh my god, bro, the $180 million for that. $180 million for that. Ungoddamn believable. But at least, hey, more than I can say for Soul than I could for several other actors on this series. He does at least look like he gives a shit. Okay, there's actually somewhat emotion in that face. But now we go from the low stakes to the we'll start to elevate a little bit, okay? Because this series has been known since, what, episode 4 for its propensity to break canon, and therefore other sites, other outlets have to go ahead and pick up the slack for the lackadaisical care for any consistency on display from Leslye Headland. And, well, when Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi showed up 40 years before he was supposed to be born, Wikipedia just decided, no, he's just a... Oh, god damn it, how are we going to go ahead and make this one work? Oh, don't worry about it, we'll just make something up. Don't worry that his species has a historically short life. That doesn't much matter. All of that stuff, that's all in the extended universe. We just pick and choose what we want to go ahead and throw into canon on this one. It'll kind of make sense, right? And it's kind of what we're dealing with right here once again, except for this is somebody who in the background, who is, he would be a canon character given the fact that he was named in Revenge of the Sith. It's just, this is the first time that he's ever been depicted in a live action, and ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the one, the only, Darth Plagueis, being a weirdo living alone on an island, just creeping on Osha and May, getting the inspiration behind tampering with the Force in order to create Anakin Skywalker. Don't you love it? Now, Leslye Headland simultaneously wrote the shittiest but yet most important show in all of Star Wars history. Don't you love that? Don't you love it? I know I love it. And I'm not even the biggest Star Wars fan, okay? We can go ahead and check in with the biggest Star Wars fan, because I was watching some of his coverage with his watch-along, and, well, for as much as I anticipated some intense, canon-destroying, lore-breaking appearances in this episode, and we ain't even done yet, I kind of thought that they would end up dangling Plagueis or even Palpatine, because we knew with Ki-Adi-Mundi, they didn't really care about birth dates all that much. And the same thing goes with Plagueis. If his old birth date that was established in the Legends content, or in the EU content, however you want to categorize it, at this point in time, he should be somewhere between the age of 1 and 28. So yeah, we're in another such situation. Let's check in real quick with Star Wars Theory, who was, well, he was having a time. He had a very successful live stream for his watch along. I think it ended up peaking somewhere in on and around 12,000 people. Great for him, man. And he's been going through it, taking a lot of heat for his takes, and well, by the end of this, he's completely justified in saying that this is absolute dog water. But this is in response. Let me set this up here real quick. You're gonna figure it out here very, very shortly. This is in the aftermath of a reveal of, well, Darth Plagueis, and well, take it away, Theory.
Fuck off! That is not Plagueis watching that shit.
Oof. He's not happy.
You did not just put Darth Plagueis in the show.
Yes,
watching
yes, she did,
fucking
Theory.
Osha and...
Oh, I mean... Yeah, he's a happy boy. He's a very happy boy right there, as you can see. But we'll check in with Theory here very, very shortly. Because now we got to... Yeah, the other side is living. All the shills that are out there that very strangely like to go ahead and format all of their tweets in the exact same form and fashion. And oh, you might be able to tell by that last picture right there, a bit of a spoiler, but Osha bleed her lightsaber is probably my favorite scene in the whole show, because for your protagonist here at the end, there's a little bit more than just simply key jangling that happened in this episode. But Chimere, now officially, Smilo Ren, he officially has his Acolyte. Not in May, okay, because May had her mind wiped and completely set back to default like the little droid, okay, by Leslye Headland's wife, Venestra, that's Jedi Master Venestra, green lady that can't act in the show, but that doesn't really narrow everything down, but at least green will help you out on that one. But after wiping her mind clean and not knowing anywhere that she's been or who she is, that she was reminded that she has a sister who is now the Acolyte to Smilo Ren. She's evil now. Osha's evil now. Why is she evil? Don't know. Why did she have to kill Master Soul? Don't know. Why were the final words to come to his lips about to be a proclamation of his love for Osha? No, who really cares, actually? But guys, we had the first ever appearance of the live action Darth Plagueis, and then on top of that, we had a live action Kyber crystal bleeding. This gave me absolute chills, and I wish the whole season had this effect, because this is the level that Star Wars should be operating at all times, because they have a wonky Photoshop filter over the hilt of stolen lightsaber, that it went from blue and now it's red. It's red. Real-time Kyber crystal bleeding is genuinely insane. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. But now that Osha and Smilo Ren are a thing, and they're wearing a black, Star Wars has never been more back. Yep, this is who Disney is trying to appeal to. Okay, this is the fan base that they want. The people that engage in the shipping, the people that don't actually care about continuity, the people that actually don't care about the things that make Star Wars Star Wars. No. They just want to ruin what you love, try to take away any fun that you had, because these are the people, okay? Normally, growing up, nerds were associated with Star Wars, the people who openly and liked geekier, nerdier properties, and I'm not trying to distance myself from that, okay? Vocal JRPG fan, wrestling fan forever, and it's like, okay, cool, I'm not immune from this stuff, it's just Star Wars was never quite my thing. But the people who are now trying to take any sort of fun, any sort of reverence for the older material away, those were the people that the Star Wars geeks would pick on. This is all about revenge. It's not about making anything better. It's not about writing, hell, even a good story set in the same galaxy. It's all about undermining what came before it, because George Lucas is a white man, and all of his accomplishments, his vision, is not good enough for modern audiences. And the final dagger twist, okay, the last thing that everybody seen was not of May and Osha, was not of Smilo Ren. It was simply Leslye Headland's wife going into the Jedi Council chambers and Well, meeting with everybody that's there, doing one final canon-destroying act, and as Gary from Nerdrotic puts it, did I mention a coven of communist lesbian space witches who conceived twins without a father? No. How about a dozen? Jedi dying? No. The Sith? No. Yep, still around. How about the double cover-up of the Jedi murdering lesbian space witches? Must have slipped my mind. Let's check in with Theory one last time here because, well, he's got the drop on what the final shot from the episode was, and, well, take it away. As you can see, he's looking super impressed by Vanestra walking into the council chambers, and, well, him eventually, well, some people in the chat have kind of spoiled it a little bit, but, yeah, he's about done. I feel for this dude, man. I don't even like anything really that much, but yep.
No. Please don't be Yoda. No, fuck off.
Oh, man. Just that. Oh, this shit broke him, man. That's absolutely wild, but here's the scene that he, well, scene. Here we have.
Sorry to disturb you, Master.
Oof.
We need to talk.
Oh no. We need to talk about what? Oh yeah, exactly. Couldn't get Frank Oz to come in because, you know, I guess he wasn't in the budget. The $180 million budget. What a disgrace, man. Absolute disgrace. But on the bright side of things, ain't nobody watching this crap at all whatsoever. It's just simply the reviewers and nobody else. This was posted, of course, a few days back, so we're running, you know, without episode 7 or episode 8's numbers, but this will go ahead and simply suffice because it's running apples to apples comparison here. With the first 12 weeks, of syndication of the last 5 Star Wars projects, and to just compare and contrast everything that's down here. Okay, we'll go ahead, yes. First 12 weeks of a recent Star Wars show. So you have The Acolyte, you have Ahsoka, you have Andor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Book of Boba Fett, and The Mandalorian Season 3. And yes, to the first 12 weeks, and to be fair, okay, The Acolyte only has, 5.5 weeks of reporting, so number is obviously gonna take off, right? Yeah, there wouldn't be anything holding us back at all whatsoever. But you have, Mandalorian Season 3. Even for as poorly as it was received, it was the best performing series. And then what was widely regarded as being the lowest quality, lowest effort, the worst series in Boba Fett, it was only slightly behind The Mandalorian. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi, probably the best acted, but then also the most oof. But then at the end of The Acolyte there, it does mess up a lot, messes up a lot of lore, but Obi-Wan Kenobi, well, that show definitely having the knock-on effect for the OT because, well, there's not as much reverence for the prequels, but even still, like, you'll eventually just have to walk it down just how hurtful the Acolyte truly is for the entirety of Star Wars. But Obi-Wan Kenobi was real bad, and then apparently nobody watched Andor, but then again, nobody watched Ahsoka, and ain't anybody watching the Acolyte. I guess that's the only saving grace this time around. But just because nobody's watching this stuff, and this is something that I've talked about time and time again, I don't want you to forget just how damaging, just how spiteful this show was. Most people are just going to look back and go, oh yeah, that was that terrible Star Wars show. And oh yeah, well, Star Wars, you know, okay, the way that they'll just try to brush this away. Star Wars has always been terrible. No. Don't let them run with that narrative at all whatsoever. You're seeing a bunch of other high-profile events right now being rewritten, recolored in real time. Don't let this happen, because this is the perfect example of what happens when you give the keys to the castle, the $180 million castle, to people that don't respect the lore, don't respect the canon, don't respect the franchise that at one point in time was the biggest cinematic franchise in Hollywood history. This is what happens when cultural vandals come in and ruin everything that you love. Not because they're bad at their job, but no. This is spiteful. This is purposeful. Because if you would have just told your little goofy ass, self-contained High Republic story, nobody would have cared. But you had to bring in Coyote-Mundi. You had to bring in Darth Plagueis. You had to bring in Yoda at the end to just simply go ahead and lay down the foundation. Just because you want a season 2 where you're going to go in and talk to Master Yoda about how there actually is a Sith out there. How actually there's, 4 Jedi that ended up getting yeeted in service of that Sith. How Plagueis is now roaming around the galaxy years before he's supposed to even be alive, or at least mature enough to be at the age that he's being presented as. Don't let this go by the wayside. because they're going to want to just simply turn the sludge pipe back on and force feed you whatever crap is coming again. Absolutely not. Don't stand for this type of vandalization for your beloved franchises. Because if you don't stand up, you don't say something, they're just going to continue to do it. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.